Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an x-ray.
What's going on, fight fans? It's another great day when you love MMA. Welcome back to Mad Matty Fight Talk, episode 12. We got an interview with the one, the only, Cheyden Leialoha, coming fresh off of his victory against Edwin Chavez at LFA 106. That happened on April 30th. Let's welcome Cheyden in. What's going on, Cheyden? How are you doing?
What's up, my man? Doing good. You doing good?
Right on.
Catching up with some family time.
Bro, you got to after a win like that. First of all, I do want to congratulate you on a victory. You beat the shit out of Edwin for 3 rounds straight, bro. I can't put it any other way. How do you feel? Was the game plan what you thought it was going to be, or did Edwin surprise you in any way?
Well, so yeah, of course, I'm stoked about the performance and getting my hand raised. You know, that's my first win in almost 2 years. So it's definitely feels good to get back in the win column. As far as the performance itself, you know, I just wanted to stick to my game plan and get the job done. And you know, I always want to go for that finish, but that guy was tough as nails and he hung in there. So I give him credit.
Bro, when I was watching the fight, I was actually tripping out how hard he was trying to wrestle you. Were you expecting him to do that, or were you expecting more of like striking battle?
From his past fights, I've seen that he definitely was well-rounded. You know, he could strike, he could wrestle, but most of his fights were wins by wrestling. And I felt like if we went out there and did what he wanted to do a little better, that, you know, it would kind of discourage him, and that's kind of how it played out.
Right on, right on. You know, there was a point in the fight where I really thought you were going to get the finish. Like, when I was watching it, you had him up against the cage, and you started kneeing him pretty good in his head, and I really thought that was going to be the beginning of the end. Ref stops it, tries to take away a point. Turns out you were following the rules. I mean, how does that play into your head in that situation? Like, did that frustrate you at all, or what happened with that?
Yeah, so, you know, the ref explained to us the rules before we went out and made the walk, and he just went over that rule set, you know, and in the heat of the moment, all kind of stuff is going on, you know what I mean? This is a fight game, all kind of crazy stuff happens, and DQs and all of that. I was happy I didn't get DQ'd or something crazy. But yeah, so when it happened, I was kind of confused because he just explained to us that you know, knees were a go if there's only one hand on the ground. But I don't think it changed anything during the fight. Maybe it stopped a little bit of momentum from a potential finish. But other than that, we stuck to the same thing and did the same thing for the next couple rounds. But yeah, I wasn't really mad at him. I was just like, you know what, I need to make up for this lost point. Like, that's pretty much all I could think of. It's like, okay, you know, that could have been a 9-9 round because I feel like I'm winning. But I just got to make up for that lost point and make sure I don't lose any rounds so it's not close on the judges' scorecards. Oh, yeah,
for sure. And you definitely made up ground from there. I mean, it was a beast performance, man. It was really fun to watch. You know, we talked about in our interview, Mad Matty, episode 8, when you were telling me, you know, when you're moving up to the weight class, you felt like you're going to be stronger and that was going to be an advantage. Dude, it looked like you were way bigger in this fight than I've ever seen you, and you looked a lot stronger. Like, even when he was trying to wrestle you, you had better positioning than him the whole time. Not to discredit him, I'm just saying, just from watching, you know, it looked like you were in a position where you could land elbows, and you were able to take it down where you would be in a dominant position. Did you feel stronger in this fight? Is this going to be a good weight class for you?
Yeah, well, I always felt strong at whatever weight class I was at. I just think that like I was able to just put it together, and I think on tape you can't really see how strong somebody is until you really get in there with them. And I knew that I'd be strong as a featherweight too. So and not having to cut like an extra 10 pounds, you know, from my walk around weight, like it feels pretty nice. And I just felt like even my body after the whole fight week, like my body's reaction to the whole weight cut and putting it back on, like, was probably 14 pounds after the weigh-ins, which is the lightest I've ever been in the cage from the weigh-in weight.
Yeah.
So I just took that into account, and I just thought, like, you know, that's like my body. That's a good reaction from my body.
Oh yeah, I agree, man. You look like you probably got to eat more. Dude, seriously, you look twice the size in there. I'm actually excited. You know, you moved to 8-2 now. So what is next for you? How do you game plan from here? Like, do you have another LFA fight that's going to be coming up? Or are you searching for your next option right now? Do you have a guy you want to fight?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a few options. We haven't really got around to it with the management quite yet. But pretty much I was coming off of a loss on Bellator that was holding me back from a lot of different opportunities. You know, my manager, Jason House, was saying, like, we can't get a contender off of a loss. You know, if that was an option, we can't take a short notice for UFC or something off of a loss. You know, and a lot of these big promotions, you know, ONE FC, stuff like that, like, they don't really take guys off of losses. You know what I mean? They want winners. They want win streaks. You know, they want finishers. You know, but I was coming off of a loss, so I felt like it was kind of holding me back from some opportunities. So that was a blessing that LFA got me on and put me on one of the main cards. So now we're in a whole better place. Like, we're in a way better place than we were off of that win. So I'm just thinking, you know, either get another shot with LFA, and then I know Contenders coming up this summer, I believe. So I got my eye out on that. And then for these LFA shows, we're not getting more than 3 weeks to prepare for these things. So it's kind of just staying on that grind and staying ready year round.
So those are basically like short notice fights for you then.
Yeah, pretty for everybody.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's pretty nuts. Like, it's a different time during this pandemic. You know, a lot of room for, like, opportunities, but at the same time, it's like it's a different game. It almost changed the game a little.
Do you like short notice fights more? Do you like to have a full camp, or do you like short notice fights?
Shoot, there's pros and cons about both. You know what I mean? I feel like if you got a long camp, you can potentially burn out. You can potentially, like, psych yourself out because you're thinking about it so long. And then on the other side, the flip side, when you're doing a short notice camp, you don't really have too much time to think about it, but you might not be in the best shape as you possibly could be. So that's what I like about it. But I think it, you know, LFA is grooming all of these guys for the big show, and a lot of times for the UFC, like, your only chance might be to take a short notice fight.
By doing that consistently, I feel like that actually might set you up for some great success. Because, dude, say the UFC does need somebody off short notice, and Hawaii's known for having good fighters or great fighters just step in, and they're known to be bangers. So I feel like that might be an advantage for you. You know, if you got a short notice call by any of these promotions, would you be willing to step in there? And how short notice are you willing to go?
Oh, for sure. You know, ideally, I would like a few weeks, but this is that'll be my dream come true, is just getting the call from the UFC. So whatever time that would be, like, I would have to say yes, regardless of whatever time they gave us. You know, and the good thing about moving up to 45 is I'm walking around very close to my fight weight. You know, I didn't really balloon up or nothing after this one. So that's definitely possible, and I would love to do that.
Now, I'm curious, because you look so good at 145, and you look the strength is there. Do you want to stay in this weight class for a while, or would you either go up to 155, or would you go back down to 135, or are you kind of trying to make 145 home?
Right now, you know, I like this past performance, and I know that we gotta still make adjustments. Right now, we actually decided that I was moving up to 45 like a month ago. You know, before we got the call where I got like a DEXA scan that showed me how much body fat I had. I think I was telling you before, but pretty much told me that 35 is out of reach unless I want to cut some muscle, you know, and cutting muscle like that is not a month process, you know what I mean? It takes a while for you to make that adjustment with your body in a healthy way. So I still feel like I can make 35, you know, and but a lot of the other people around me, you know, are trying to put me in this direction of like, okay, you know, maybe we'll settle into the weight class. Who knows that if I start feeling like the 45 division is super easy for me to make the weight, then maybe I'll give another try on the bantamweight again.
Oh, for sure.
So far, so good. I'm just kind of playing it by ear on how this thing goes, and we'll see where we go in the future.
Roger that. So right now we're sitting at May 12th. So you just came off of a win. How many times do you want to fight this year, or what is ideal for you? Like, what is an ideal fight frame in a year for you?
Shoot, I would love to fight 4 times in a year. Would be nice.
Oh, that's solid.
But even three times would be cherry. Like fighting 3 times, like I would be good with that. Like at least 3. You know, like, but 4 or 5 is major. That'd be like that's super active.
So basically, what you're saying is, if you go in there and just dominate the guy in the first round, you're definitely gonna take another short notice fight.
Yeah, sure. Like I think the night after I fought, we were eating dinner after, and my management called me and asked if I wanted to fight in like 13 days or something like that. It would have been this weekend, but I was still a little banged up. I was like, shoot, I would, but you know, I had some sore parts in my body that needed to rest it out. But had I been healthy and not that scratch on my body, like I would have been.
Well, yeah, going off of that, actually, so how long does it take you to recoup before you get back into training? Actually, we're talking about short notice fights so much. You fought for 3 rounds, man. You need to rest. You know what I mean? Like, how long does that usually take?
I like to take a week. A lot of the guys at our gym will just chill for a week. You know, just like physically, it's good for physical and mental. You know, just kind of take a break from it. You know, it's a rough sport, so you don't want to get burnt out. And I noticed that, you know, fights that I would just like, okay, yeah, I'm going right back to the gym. Like eventually, you know, something would happen where like maybe I get another nagging injury because I didn't even let myself recover from a grueling camp. And then you just like, it's a mental thing. You're like, oh yeah, I'm still, you know, I'm still revving off the adrenaline from this past weekend, and I'm going back to the gym. Like, I think that's what it is. Usually, like, after the fight happens, I've never slept after a fight. Like,
Really?
Like I've never. Anytime I fought, win or lose, I would pull an all-nighter because my body's just revving.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, my adrenaline would dump too fast. That's crazy. You don't get no sleep, dude. Yeah, honestly, I just want to do a short interview to, you know, to see how you're feeling, what your plans were for the future. Obviously, people like hearing from you, man. We got a lot of good feedback from that last interview. But before I let you go, UFC 262, Oliviera versus Chandler. I'm so curious as to who you have winning that fight.
Oh man, I'm kind of torn between these 2 guys because I love both of them. I love both of their styles. Like I love how Oliviera kind of puts jiu-jitsu on the map. You know what I mean? Like for the jiu-jitsu fighters he's putting on, got a lot of good guillotines and all around game. He's a killer, and his striking has come around like in the last 2 years. It's crazy.
Dude, that fight with Ferguson was insane. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. So and it does everything like with good technique with his striking and his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu. And Chandler is on the other side. Is just a freaking specimen. You know what I mean? It's like he's got like that fitness about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a grinder, and he trains with a really, really good striking team, you know, to go along with his wrestling.
And I think a lot of guys underestimate that guy, bro. Like, I remember when he fought Dan Hooker. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Dan Hooker was gonna knock him out too, but man, he opened some eyes.
Yeah, big time, and people see it like, you know, you look at Chandler's feed on his IG or something, and you're like, oh, this guy's always lifting weights. You know what I mean? Like, And people get the wrong idea, like, oh, like, you don't need to lift that much weights in fighting and stuff, but, you know, this is now, it's a sport. You know what I mean? It's fighting, but it's a sport now, and now that you're seeing these athletes come up, you know what I mean? Some of them might not be as skilled as others, but some of them will actually make up for that in athleticism. You know, you got freaking football athletes getting into MMA and going right into, like, the top 20 or something like that. Like, it happens all the time. But I'm going to say, if I have to pick a winner.
Oh, yeah.
I think Charles. I have to go with Charles.
Right on. That's who I got too. I'm hoping, bro. I'm hoping it's third round, like, finish.
Yeah. However he wins, I just think that, you know, this is Chandler's first fight, or second fight in the UFC, and I'm just rooting for Charles because he's paid his dues in the UFC. You know what I mean? He kind of grew up in the UFC, and I think the belt is rightfully his if he wins.
Oh, yeah. I think the same thing, dude. He's fought everybody. He's had ups and downs. But when he moved to 155, it was like, that was just where he belongs, bro. You just see he's levels above dudes. Like, even Ferguson, he's outclassing that guy. And that dude's technically sharp, so it's insane.
Yep. I think you got to weather the storm. You got to weather the storm.
Yeah. He might get dropped, but but that might work out for him. Thanks for doing this interview with me. I know you're busy, bro. I know you got to train and recover and all that good stuff, but I just wanted to do another one just so we can get you out there, man. We need to be promoting this guy right here, bro. Cheyden Leialoha. You don't have another fight lined up yet, right?
Not yet, but you will be the first to know, my man.
Oh, yeah, and you guys will also be hearing about it immediately. So, right on, bro. Thanks.
Right on, my brother.
Thanks for your time, man.
Tune in to the Matty Matt Show.
Oh, yeah.
All the predictions, man. If you guys want to put some bets, check in with this guy. He's accurate. So
thank you.
This guy's bet, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an X-ray.